Once a symbol of life and serenity, this ancient river now harbors fear and the unknown as its waters rise at an alarming pace. Something ominous lurks in its depths, emerging to haunt the imaginations of those daring enough to uncover its secrets. Known as the Ferrat in Turkish, the Euphrates River originates in Eastern Anatolia and flows southward through southeastern Turkey, weaving its way around the provinces of San, Leorfa, Adiaman, and Gaziantep. Crossing the border into Syria and Iraq, it traverses the historic land of Mesopotamia before finally emptying into the Persian Gulf in Basra. The Euphrates River, spanning roughly 2,800 kilometers in length, joins forces with the Tigris River in Chat al-Arab, creating a confluence that marks a significant turning point. Turkey contributes 603 miles to the overall length of the river, as both rivers are considered headwaters of the mighty Euphrates. The precise merging of these rivers occurs somewhere near the Kaman district of Elazig province, an area notorious for the enigmatic Kaban Dam. The Kaban Dam, one of Turkey's largest and most imposing structures, stands tall at 210 meters. Its construction, spanning from 1965 to 1975, holds a sense of foreboding. What secrets lie beneath its towering presence? Is there a connection to the rising waters of the Euphrates River? These questions only add to the intrigue and fear surrounding this once peaceful waterway. Hidden within the depths of this region lies an intricate network of dams, shrouded in secrecy and suspicion. Karakaya, standing tall at 173 meters, silently guards its secrets, while the Ataturk Dam looms as a colossal presence, claiming the title of the greatest dam in Turkey and one of the largest in the world. Constructed between 1983 and 1992 near the San Leorfa region, this behemoth rises to a height of 169 meters, dominating the landscape. These dams, strategically positioned in this enigmatic part of Turkey, serve a dual purpose. They harness the power of the Euphrates River to generate hydroelectricity, delivering much-needed energy to the surrounding areas. Additionally, they provide a controlled water supply for irrigation, ensuring fertile lands can flourish. The water released from the Ataturk Dam flows through two parallel tunnels in Urfa, each measuring an impressive 7.62 meters in breadth and stretching over 16.4 miles in length. This precious resource is then channeled to nourish the agricultural fields in Urfa, Haran, Mardin, Selen, Pinar, Sivarekilvan, and Upper Garden. The Euphrates River, with its tributaries such as the Karasu, Murat, Toma Perikalti, and Munzu rivers, weaves a tapestry of life and sustenance throughout the region. The landscape surrounding the Euphrates River is a study in contrast. The lowlands, with an average elevation of 760 meters, provide a fertile haven for agriculture, while the plateaus and mountains soar to heights exceeding 1,500 meters. The rhythm of the river ebbs and flows, reaching its peak between March and June as the snow-capped mountains melt and receding between January and July. Its water regime is intricately tied to the whims of nature, relying heavily on winter rains and the springtime snowmelt in the mountains. Yet, as the freezing temperatures and snowfall blanket the region during the winter months, a chilling stillness descends upon the agriculture that thrives along the banks of the Euphrates. The very heartbeat of the region's economy comes to a standstill, leaving behind an eerie silence. The communities residing near the Euphrates River heavily rely on fishing as a secondary source of income, with a diverse range of fish species, including carp, barbels, catfish, spiny, frogs, toads, and turtles found in its waters. The surrounding region boasts a rich variety of flora, with oak trees, pistachio trees, ashwoods, calftail, marti, reed, and other types of reeds, camel, thorn, precipice, willow, poplar, date palms, and many types of wildflowers adorning the landscape. During the time of the Hittites and the Urartu, the banks of the Euphrates were home to numerous prosperous ancient cities, with Zugma being one of the notable ones. The river itself holds significance in biblical references known as the Perrat in the book of Genesis. It is described as one of the four rivers branching off from the river that flowed out of the Garden of Eden, named Pishon, Gihon, Hiddekel, and Perot. However, the future of the Euphrates River looks uncertain due to the impact of climate change. Northeastern Syria has already experienced a significant increase in average temperature over the past century, coupled with a substantial decrease in monthly rainfall. This alarming trend puts the river at risk of drying up completely by 2040. The Ministry of Water Resources in Iraq has expressed concerns about the environmental impact caused by human activities, which may force the inhabitants to abandon the region they have called home for thousands of years. The Euphrates River, the longest and one of the oldest in Western Asia, plays a crucial role in Syria as a major source of fresh water for the entire nation. However, climate change has not only jeopardized the river's existence, but has also exacerbated the fragility of Syria's civil war and heightened tensions among its people. The water levels of the Euphrates have reached historically low points due to the drought, resulting in reduced rainfall and increased risks of disease and emigration for the local population. The question arises, can this dire condition be reversed? Historically, the Euphrates has been the primary water source for agriculture, drinking, farming, and animal husbandry, catering to 85% of Syria's water needs. The river holds profound cultural and spiritual significance for the Syrian people who conduct religious rituals and attribute spiritual attributes to its waters. However, the current state of the river, marked by low water levels and poor water quality, has led to numerous catastrophes, including a cholera outbreak since September 2022 and the devastating impact of starvation caused by climate change. The flow of the Euphrates-Tigris River system has plummeted to approximately half of its typical annual flow during dry years, reaching one of the lowest points in recorded history. This decrease in water availability, coupled with population growth, has exacerbated water insecurity for downstream nations like Syria. The consequences of these droughts are particularly devastating for Syrian farmers and herders, placing them in a difficult position and putting many rural people at risk of displacement. Moreover, investments in alternative livelihoods and economic opportunities can help reduce dependence on the Euphrates River and alleviate the vulnerability of the local population. The fate of the Euphrates River hangs in the balance, with far-reaching consequences. It is not just an environmental crisis, but also a threat to the social, cultural, and economic fabric of the region. The populations most affected by these challenges heavily rely on the Euphrates River for their survival. Water problems pose a particularly significant threat to Syria's agricultural industry. Farmers in northeastern Syria are witnessing the devastating impact of contaminated water and a lack of irrigation, further exacerbating their struggles. Syrian cities have suffered from water shortages, with vital water sources like the Alak water station in northeast Syria ceasing electricity production as a result. In normal circumstances, governments would step in during emergencies, alleviating suffering and providing essential social services. However, the situation in Syria is far from normal. The lack of effective governance and adherence to the country's own laws have left Syrians vulnerable to the shifting tides of the Euphrates. The plight of the Euphrates River and its impact on the Syrian people is a grave concern. As the conflict rages on and climate change continues to take its toll, urgent action is needed to address the water crisis and provide essential support to the affected communities. Sustainable water management practices, international cooperation, and the restoration of effective governance are crucial steps towards securing a better future for the people who depend on the Euphrates for their survival. The ongoing conflict in Syria has caused an additional 7 million people to be displaced internally, adding to the already dire situation. The nation's infrastructure has been severely damaged, making it challenging to initiate immediate restoration efforts. The exclusion of certain groups from Bashar al-Assad's rule further complicates the situation, as there are multiple active factions in the conflict. Among them are the Kurds, a significant ethnic group residing in Syria's north and neighboring countries like Turkey, Iraq, and Iran. The Kurds have been vocal in their protests against the government, demanding representation in a more democratic society. The interaction of these elements, coupled with the accelerated consequences of climate change, poses a systemic risk to Syria. However, immediate restoration efforts are hindered by the ongoing hostilities and the exclusion of certain groups. To ensure a future for Syria and the well-being of the people who depend on the Euphrates River, cooperation at all levels is essential. It is vital for the international community to collaborate with those affected by the conflict and its consequences to enable the necessary changes. The interstate accords concerning the Euphrates River should be revised to account for the impacts of climate change and the threats posed to livelihoods by environmental water degradation. Only through collective efforts can we hope to alleviate the suffering and create a more sustainable and secure future for Syria and its people. International assistance can play a crucial role in supporting local farmers in adapting to the changing climate. By providing resilient crops and technological expertise, they can equip farmers with the tools they need to mitigate the impacts of climate change. Commercial companies can offer technological resources for monitoring water levels, pollution, and salinity. Using technology can significantly improve humanitarian and development efforts, as highlighted by organizations like Mercy Corps. Satellite data allows for better measurement and understanding of the Earth's physical properties, enabling the delivery of crucial knowledge to communities in need. Collaboration across NGOs, international organizations, the scientific community, and religious organizations is essential to address the effects of climate change, particularly water scarcity. UNICEF, for example, can serve as a bridge and support the establishment of a permanent NGO cooperation framework in Syria. The contributions of the social and scientific communities should also be supported, as innovative digital tools can aid in both education and humanitarian efforts. Religious organizations can leverage their influence to build trust and cooperation among locals who may be wary of outsiders. Lastly, efforts from the entire society are crucial in mitigating the effects of climate change. By reducing the use of fossil fuels and promoting sustainable energy, the Euphrates River and Syria's environment can be protected from further contamination. Stay tuned for more engaging content. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in our next video.